A panel of medical experts are urging the FDA to approve a new way of treating opioid addicts using a slender rod implanted into the arm that delivers medicine for months at a time. Now, some doctors are saying that this could ease the national epidemic of drug overdoses. Now, the implant is about the size of a matchstick and delivers the drug buprenorphine directly into a patient's system. Now, buprenorphine is normally taken orally, and it's left to the patient to regulate how they take that medicine. The problem is that it's addictive in and of itself. So left to their own devices, people are abusing this medicine, and the implant allows people to regulate their intake for over a 6-month period.
I think it's in a way, it's very positive that they are trying to push this slow release mechanism. Something similar happened with methadone when they brought it in as an alternative for those who were addicted to heroin. That has evolved into different drugs. This is another instance. But for me, it's another step in the wrong direction because we keep basing the pain management strategy based on opioid painkillers. And that's what created the epidemic that you referred to in this country, where we see not only the problem of in itself about addiction, but we've seen also HIV epidemics in Indiana because of the sharing of the needles and the fact that the government has been taking a long time, the state government, to adopt the needle exchange program, the abuse of Vicodin, Percocet, all of these different brand names of opioid-based painkillers that are really easily available to really young people, and then they find themselves trying to get a $5 hit in the corner, and they die of overdoses. Now they keep trying to make you believe that if they give you a little stick that is going to release the drug for 6 months at a time, then you're better off than just taking it in pills or trying to score it at the street. I think the problem in itself is relying on opioids for the painkilling management.
Well, the question is, how do we get to a place where we can fully get people off of opioid-based prescriptions and things like that?
Stop giving them so easily, because if you see now the standard practice of any physician is to just give you a prescription for these drugs, and you can go to the store, and after 3 months of using them, most of the people are hooked on, and then they don't have access to the pill, and they have to go to the black market, opening up the door to many of these implications of the epidemic.
Well, prescription drug use is on the rise. It's been in a steady increase since, over the last few decades.
Yep.
And to your point, there have been a lot of cases where people have been addicted to prescription pills. They haven't been able to get them, and then they go and they start taking heroin as a way to ease the transition because it is cheaper, it is easily accessible. But the number of heroin deaths, and we have a chart that we can go full screen on, the number of heroin deaths in the United States has pretty much quadrupled in the last year. So it's taking the country by storm. And
exactly. And I think that there's another social implication that many law enforcement officials have actually lied on. That is the fact that the demographics that are getting addicted to heroin are different from the ones that we used to believe back in the 80s and the 90s when the first heroin epidemics happened. We are seeing middle-class white males and women that are getting addicted because of the social acceptance of popping a pill. It will be okay if I take 2 pills and I drink a glass of wine and my pain will go away. But that escalates really quickly. And now we find in the arrests numbers and in the files a different type of demographic getting into the black market of heroin, a proof that it's a public health issue. It's a problem that is coming from the health system and not from the wrong choices that you will make based off all of this stigma of social choices that drugs have.
Well, I think this implant also will help change the narrative around this conversation. In his State of the Union address last night, President Barack Obama made mention of the fact that prescription drugs, heroin addiction is really having a stronghold on the nation.
Correct.
And with this implant, I hear you and I hear your concerns. However, I think this is a step sort of in a right direction because it is allowing lives to be saved in a way where we are controlling how people are consuming these medicines.
I agree, because I don't expect for people literally to go cold turkey on heroin or their addictions, and that's kind of short-sighted. But at the same time, we are in a situation of crisis, and then you have to wean off easily from these addictions. And this definitely, I agree with you that this is the first step, and it will help, and it will be a way to prevent new addictions. And having this as a different way to prescribe this medicine and a different way to help addicts recover. But at the same time, at the end, for me, is Big Pharma that is behind trying to sell the cure and also selling the root of the problem. So for me, yes, it's a good step to help those who are already in the problem, but continue the distribution of these opioid-based chemicals to the population, and I think that's the mistake.
Well, the FDA heard this, and in a 12-5 vote, they agreed that they would take this new implant into consideration. Is this just another case of Big Pharma pushing drugs and providing solutions? Guess we'll find out soon.